I'd like to start off by saying that I am not naked. I am wearing a strapless top. And it's much easier to wear a strapless top to do swatches because we are going to get into a lot of swatches. Today's video is going to be your ultimate guide to sparkly eyeshadows. We're going to talk about 3 finishes of sparkly eyeshadows: a diamond shimmer finish, a wet shimmer finish, and a metallic shimmer finish. From going through my eyeshadow collection, I basically classify all of my super sparkly, super pretty eyeshadows into these 3 categories. And I'm going to go through examples of each finish, different formulas, so that you can decide which one you actually want. Because I think we see a lot of videos, we see a lot of reviews of products saying this eyeshadow is super sparkly, this eyeshadow is super wet, shiny, blah, 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 blah. But when you get it in your hand, sometimes it's not actually what you expect. So I am going to help you figure out what you want, give you examples of some of my favorites, some that are not so good, affordable options, more expensive options, so that you can make a purchase that you won't regret. So let's get into it. Right, we're going to start off with what's on my eyes, and that is the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Dual Sticks in Dual 8. By the way, this video is not going to be a detailed review of the products I'm going to talk about. It's really going to be a lowdown on what the finishes are. These duos are very popular. These cost £48.50, I believe, on most websites in the UK, but it is cheaper on Beautylish. And by the way, everything that I'm wearing on my face, everything that I'm talking about is going to be linked in the description box. And each of the links is probably going to be affiliate links. But I do try to help you find the best price available and try to give you the link where the product is still in stock, because some of these are out of stock. But anyway, so Danessa Myricks, I'm wearing Dual 8. So even though Danessa describes these 2 dual sticks as one being metallic finish, one being foil finish, actually the foil finishes all have different finishes and the metallic finishes all have different finishes as well. So I'm going to classify them in my 3-tier description, whether they are metallic shimmer, diamond shimmer, or a wet shimmer. I've got the 3 metallic finishes from the dual stick swatch on the back of my hand, and I think you can clearly see that they're not created equal. So this is Dual 8 Draco, this is Dual 6 Celeste, and this is Dual 1 Mystic Taupe. And you can see Dual 6 Celeste is much less shimmery. This is actually just metallic shade. However, the other shades, they have a strong base color and a myriad of different shimmer particles that is slightly different to the base color, causing that shimmery, shiny finish that a lot of us are looking for in an eyeshadow. This is just a metallic eyeshadow, but I will classify these as metallic shimmers. So this is Dual 8 Metallic. It's got the beautiful blue-black base, but it's got lilac shimmers, it's got blue shimmers, multi-dimensional shimmers that's really popping through. So metallic shimmer, in my classification, they have a lovely base color, and they mainly come off as this metallic, colorful, shiny eyeshadow. But if they have a high amount of shimmery particles and they give up the beautiful kind of dazzle, then I start classifying them as a metallic shimmer rather than just metallic. And now the foil finishes in these sticks are what I would describe as diamond shimmers. Now I have got the foil size swatch on the back of my hand here. So this is Dual 8's foil, which is Meteorite, and we've got Dual 6, which is Nova, and then got Dual 1, which is Interstellar. Can you see how these are they just have that higher little sparkle content. So they don't have as much of a base color. They're really just all about that shimmer. Now, Dual 6 do have a stronger base color, but despite the stronger base color, it is still a little bit more shimmery than its metallic counterpart. So this one is just kind of edges in that diamond shimmer category. So that is how kind of the 2 different categories differ from my interpretation. Maybe that helps you to understand how the eyeshadows are actually different from each other and help you decide whether you want to buy them and what you're actually looking for. The 3rd category is the wet shimmer. Now, the wet shimmer is kind of the in-between of the metallic shimmer and diamond shimmer, where it's kind of got a good, strong base color, but it's also got a super high concentration of the shimmer and glitter particles. And because the concentration is so high and is so impactful, it actually becomes wet looking. And actually Nova from the foil side of number 6 of the Limeric's Dual Sticks, if you really build this up and if you don't blend it out and you just apply it with full-on pigment, it almost becomes that wet shimmer finish where it's just so intense, so sparkly, it starts looking like oil, or oil maybe it's not a great word, but it starts just looking super, super wet on your eyelid, where it's not just metallic like this, but super, super shiny like that. I do have some other examples of wet shimmers coming up for you. And these eyeshadow sticks are very long lasting. Once they dry down, they don't budge. Actually, they dry down pretty quickly and you don't have a lot of time to work with them. And I would say that's probably the one downside of this formula. And of course, we can't get through the stick formula without mentioning the original juicy highlighter stick and the Dose of Color shimmer stick that went absolutely viral. And if you guys seen my video about this, I waited so long for this eyeshadow and paid so much. But it is actually pretty unique and it's pretty nice. So I have the shade Stardust, and this is definitely a true diamond shimmer. Because I bought directly from Dose of Color's website, taxes and shipping cost so much. It's only $28, but it cost me something like $55 after adding it all up. But we can rejoice for the UK girls because Revolve is now carrying them, including all the taxes and duties, and it's £24. And this has a gold base with blue, lilac, and silver sparkles. It is absolutely stunning. It's perfect for that subtle glimmer look. You can do it as one and done, or you can use it as a topper. And again, once it dries, it does not budge. It's completely fallout free if you just directly apply into your eyelid. You can use it on your lips as well. It's absolutely stunning. I cannot recommend this enough, especially this shade Stardust. I mean, this is the only shade I have. I can't say to the other shades, but this has multicolor, multidimensional glitters. Now, the original Juicy is actually quite different. So Juicy is a Chinese brand, and I have mine in the shade H01. This is a lot cheaper. It's between £6 and £10 on Yes Style or Stelvana. And this has a cooling sensation when you apply it. It's a little bit more wet and it can actually break a little bit on your eyelid if you swipe a little bit too much. Now, the shade I have, H01, there is absolutely no base color and it is just silver sparkle. And it is perfect as a little topper shade. It can be very subtle, might even be suitable for everyday use if you just put it in the middle of your lid to give you something a little extra that might not be so obvious. Now, there is a third contender in this category, or fourth contender rather, from Beauty Bay, their Bounce Beam Shimmer Stick Trio. This is very affordable. Unfortunately, it is out of stock at the moment. I don't know if they'll restock it, but 3 of these was for £15, so essentially they're £5 each. So these are the 3 colours from the Beauty Bay set. And I've got set list for FOMO and gold hoops. And you can see they are distinctly different from the other 2. Where these 2 are the true diamond shimmer, these 3 are actually more like metallic shimmers. Certainly for set list, this is definitely more of a metallic shimmer. Although there are beautiful shimmer particles, the finish, it's just not quite as sparkly as compared to these 2 because there is that kind of a diamondy beige base color with the white and gold on top. These have a very similar feeling to the juicy ones where it's quite cooling, quite wet, a little bit fragile. And again, once they set down, they don't budge. And now the next shade is FOMO, and I would describe this more of a duochromed metallic. It's not really a shimmer finish eyeshadow, it's more of a metallic eyeshadow, but it has this beautiful gold pink shift that I hope you can see on camera. And then the third is Gold Hoops, which I would describe as a metallic shimmer as well. It's got white pale champagne base with silver sparkles, and the thing is, it's beautiful, it's shimmery, but because the base color is very similar to the shimmer particles in this eyeshadow, there's no contrast. It doesn't actually come off as sparkly. So again, that is why I would describe this as a metallic shimmer. And I have put them on my eyes as well, and they just don't come off as quite that glimmery, shiny, diamondy effect that you would get from diamond shimmers. So I hope that actually helps you to decide which shimmer stick you should go for. Sticking with eyeshadow sticks, although not the jelly formula, I would just like to mention these 4 products. So first of all, these 2 are from Gosh Cosmetics. It is a Danish brand, and they used to sell out of UK drugstore, but now I think they just operate online, and they are really old, okay? But they are still amazing, and I don't understand why I've never seen anyone talk about these eyeshadow sticks, because they're so budge proof, they are affordable, they are so shiny, metallic-y, just beautiful. And I have the shade 04 Brown, which is a really pretty dark chocolatey metallic shade. It is a neutral chocolatey brown base with silver sparkles. It is just so stunning, great for a smoky eye look, so easy. They are amazing. And this shade Plum 06, it is so sparkly. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful, and it is a cool toned silver plum purple, as you know, plum as the shade would call it. It's grey lilac with silver and purple sparkles, and I would definitely describe this as a metallic shimmer. I think this is kind of dulls in comparison compared to this, but this also has really pretty silver sparkles as well, which is a little bit more subtle than this one. These 2 are great. If you live in Europe, I think it's quite easy to get your hands on these. You can certainly buy direct from their website. Maybe they're available in European drugstores that's outside the UK. I would definitely recommend them. The price do vary from different websites, but they're around £10. They're so stunning. I also have them in a matte formula as well. Also great, blendable. So if you're looking for an affordable eyeshadow stick option, I think these are great. And then I have these 2 little sticks from a Chinese brand called Vichy or Vici. They are eyeliners, but because of how sparkly they are, how budge proof they are, I wanted to just include them. And even though they are very small, if you wanted to, you can certainly use this all over your eyelid. And I have the shade 01 Inky Green. It's a very fine tip, perfect as a liner, and you can see this is definitely a metallic shimmer. It's got a dark green base with gold shimmer on top. And I also have this other one, which is in the shade J08 Crushed Ice. This is great for that inner corner shimmer or for that purple shimmer on the middle of your eyelid. Look at how beautiful, sparkly that is and how easy it is to apply. Both of these were around £4 each, and this is again a metallic shimmer rather than a diamond shimmer. It's just a little bit more shimmery than this green shade. And next, let's move on to the liquid eyeshadow formulas. Can't hold them all up. So I'm going to start off with the Lisa Eldridge, because you guys know Lisa Eldridge is my specialty here on YouTube. And she has the liquid silk eyeshadows that I recently swatched, and I have reviewed those on my channel. Liquid Lurex. So these are the shimmer finishes in this liquid formula in the same packaging. Now these are also brilliant, but they are definitely not created equal. If you would like a full video on the ones that I do have, I think I have most shades because I kind of bought them to kind of want to show you guys. I just haven't made that video yet. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And I just want to demonstrate 2 shades today because they have very different finishes. Actually, scratch that. I want to show you 3 different shades today because I think they all have very different finishes. So if we start off with Aria, this is basically just a silver sparkle. You can go on like this with full opacity where it looks like a foiled silver, like a nice metallic eyeshadow. But if you blend it out, I would say that is more of a diamond shimmer. It's kind of on the edge of the diamond shimmer, slightly leaning into metallic shimmer. But you can see there's a lot of shimmer particles. However, if we go into the shade Celine, swatched again, full opacity, nice metallic eyeshadow. However, when this is blended out, it stays a metallic eyeshadow. I wouldn't even call this a metallic shimmer. I would just call this a metallic eyeshadow. A very nice one, but not a shimmery eyeshadow. And then finally, we have one of the original shades, the OG shade, my absolute favorite, and one that you guys asked me so much about when I wore it in one of the Lisa Eldridge lipstick videos, and that is the shade Bianca. Honestly, this shade is so beautiful. It is described as a heather pink. Again, full opacity, not blended, beautiful metallic. But once you blend it out, it is a beautiful metallic shimmer finish eyeshadow. It has a neutral pink base with silver sparkles on top. And you can see how it's different to Celine in that Celine blended out stays metallic, but Bianca blended out, you still got that base color, but you've got the beautiful shimmer particles on top. And these are kind of the three different finishes that you can get in the Lisa Eldridge liquid Lurex eyeshadows. Let me know if you want me to swatch all of them, tell you about the different colors to help you decide which shade you should buy. I also have this Color Fix foil in the shade Rock Candy. It was limited edition. It came in this little box with chrome flakes as well. And this is another very pretty shade. I don't have any other than the Samarix Color Fix foils, but certainly this one, blended out, is a diamond shimmer finish. It costs £24. There's no base. Blended out is just beautiful blue, lilac, silver sparkles. Absolutely stunning, gorgeous, beautiful, cannot complain. The last two liquid eyeshadows that I want to talk about are from LH Cosmetics, and I don't think this brand gets enough love online. She has this new eyeshadow formula it's called Sparkle eyeshadow. There's so many different shades. This is a shade Blink, which again, no base, just pure stunning duochrome shimmer. These are £23. Once you blend this out, it has a blue and pink shift. This is a very shiny duochrome eyeshadow. Once you blend it out, definitely a diamond shimmer finish, but if you apply with fuller capacity, if you build it up, it would look more like a wet shimmer. How stunning is that? And then we've got one of her OG shades, the Interstellar liquid eyeshadow. This is on sale on the website for £9, okay? And I would run and buy it because it is absolutely stunning. There are two shades. I only have the gold, and if you apply it at full opacity, very shiny, blend it out, just such a beautiful wash of gold and silver sparkles for your eyelid. I mean, that is so beautiful, so stunning. This is a mix of gold and silver, which is different from the Juicy, even though it's a different formula, but the Juicy is just silver sparkles. So if you like both a bit of gold and a bit of silver, Interstellar is a good choice. So the two types of formulas I've just talked about, the liquid and the jelly stick, they have a certain degree of versatility in terms of kind of how intense you apply the eyeshadow. With the liquid, if you apply it at full capacity and hardly blend it, they're all going to look like metallic shimmers. But with some of them, as I demonstrated, if you blend them out, they end up looking more like a diamond shimmer. And then for the sticks, especially the Samarix, if you build up that foil, it can go from a diamond shimmer to a wet shimmer. And on the liquid as well, I think with the LH Cosmetics, it can even go from diamond shimmer to metallic shimmer to wet shimmer. But next, we're going to talk about the powder eyeshadows now, where there is less kind of versatility in the finish. Most of them are just straight up diamond shimmer or metallic or wet shimmer. I'm going to start off with one of my favorites right now, and it's super affordable, super amazing. I love it so much, and I think this, you can't go wrong, especially when this costs around £4. The Laka single eyeshadows are just stunning. You might have heard other creators talk about this already. I have three shades, 921, 924, and 926, and my go-to tend to be 921 because this is the most diamondy one of them all. It's got a neutral champagne base with light gold champagne shimmer. It can work as a topper or one and done. And what I really actually like about these eyeshadows is that there's a little nice detail to the packaging where the corner is raised. So even though it's £4, I feel like there is something extra special with the packaging. It's got a very similar finish to the Juicy, which I just put on my hand here. The Juicy is got the same very kind of subtle, just that magical diamond shimmer. The shimmer particles are very small, but with the Juicy, it's just white silver particles. Whereas the lacquer, it does have a bit of gold champagne in there as well, and there's obviously a base color. And then the next shade I have is 926 Liberty. So Liberty in the middle is a neutral brown base with white, silver, light gold shimmers. Again, very pretty, and it's more neutral leanings rather than this next shade, which is 924 Cliff, which has a copper base with white gold and light copper shimmers. It is definitely warmer than the other two shades. And I have swatched 921 and 926 on my eyes so you can see them in action. On the eyes, like on my eyes, they don't actually look that different because I didn't use an eyeshadow primer or a concealer to correct the natural pigmentation of my eyelids. So my pigmentation does shine through and they end up looking quite similar on my eyelids. I adore these eyeshadows. They are so good. And of course, we can't talk about beige-based shimmery eyeshadows without talking about the OG Urban Decay Space Cowboy Moondust eyeshadow. I still have mine in the old packaging, and I think with the new packaging, it's not just a new packaging, but it's also a new formula, which some people have said is a little bit more drier feeling. So I do have the new formula in a different shade, and I do feel like this is drier than this. So I'm very glad that I still have my super old cracked Moondust eyeshadow, but I don't regret it. And I mean, this is an OG for a reason. It's just so stunning. So now you can see the difference. So this is Urban Decay Moondust, and it's got slightly larger shimmer particles than the lacquer. However, there's only white sparkles, and the base color is just a touch stronger. Of course, all of these are diamond shimmer finishes. The Urban Decay Moondust Space Cowboy will set you back about £21. There's 1.8 grams in there. The lacquer is around £4 and there's 1.6 grams. What do you think? I don't think the price difference is worth it. I think the lacquer it just so affordable, so easy to use, you can't go wrong. And again, we can't talk about Urban Decay Space Cowboy without talking about Colourpop Ritz, which is another comparable. The Colourpop Super Shock eyeshadow is less drying, is more of a cream to powder formula, as you all know. And this is Ritz underneath. So on my wrist, you can see that Ritz has, I would say, a slightly higher concentration of sparkles and a stronger base color. On the eyes, though, these two are basically identical. I can only see the difference in the swatches. The other thing that Ritz has, I would say, it's got white gold and pink shimmer as well. The base color, though, is very similar. Both of them is kind of like a peachy nude base color. Again, Colourpop is a lot cheaper. There's 2.1 grams in here, and it's only $7 USD. I think Urban Decay is certainly the most expensive. I would say on the back of my hand, it probably has that most obvious diamond shimmer effect, just because of the contrast, the size of the shimmers. But on the eyes, all three look very similar. And for me, Lacquer is the winner because it's the most affordable, and it's just my current favorite. I don't think you can beat this little Kate Beauty eyeshadow. And I would just like to swatch this shade of Headliner. So it definitely feels a little bit drier to the touch, but it's a beautiful icy blue shade. Another diamond shimmer finish. I mean, Urban Decay, they know how to do sparkle eyeshadow. I do really like the shade. I don't regret getting it. I don't have any other icy blue shimmers in my collection. Really beautiful diamond shimmer. And another Colourpop single Super Shock eyeshadow that I really like is Frog. Can you see that in the pan? It's just so stunning. Now, Frog is very different from Ritz, actually. Frog is a baby pink base with blue, white, gold, pink, and green shimmers. If I put it directly underneath Ritz. So I think this is more unique because the shimmers are multicolored. There's lilac, there's white gold, there's pink, there's green, and it is really, really stunning. And since I've mentioned these two shades before, so I just want to show you, this is Frog from Colourpop. This is Bianca from Lisa Eldridge, and you can see Bianca has more of that obvious pink, right? It's still got that beautiful diamond shimmer, but there's definitely, you can tell it's pink color. And this here is the Dozen Colors Stardust, because Stardust also has beautiful multidimensional shimmers. I wanted to compare it to Frog to show you how they're different. So you can kind of decide which one you want to go for. I think if you want something that is more colorful, Frog is your bet, because you can see that is really, really obvious, whereas Stardust, I think, is a little bit more subtle, probably a little bit more sophisticated, I would say, when you're really comparing them. And of course, we have another viral eyeshadow, Patrick Ta. I have the duo Do You Know Who I Am? And I have swatched it with full opacity with my fingers here, and then a brush swatch here. So this formula, you can actually manipulate it. If you use a fluffy brush, it really comes off as that beautiful, shimmery diamond topper shade that you can use. But you can apply with your fingers for full opacity. That becomes a wet shimmer finish. And these two shades are the lacquer shades that I previously talked about, just so you can see a comparison between the two. What do you think? Which one would you buy from? I know Patrick Ta has had a lot of controversies, so I think a lot of people just don't really buy from him because of that. The eyeshadow duo are infamous for the price. It's £37 for 4 grams. It is expensive for sure, but I do enjoy using the Patrick Ta eyeshadows as a topper. Also, I just want to say I actually got this before the whole controversy came out, just so you know, because I think if I saw what happened about him not paying Black creators, I don't think I would have gone and bought his product. But, here we go. I feel like the beauty community is always full of drama, always full of controversy. The next eyeshadow I want to talk about is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Hypnotizing Pop Shot in Ultraviolet, and what a mouthful for a shade. Beautiful packaging, obviously. I mean, look at these cute little plastics embedded in more plastic, but it's still pretty. This is a massive disappointment. This eyeshadow is so lackluster. I really regret buying it. This cost £25 for 1.2 grams. And although the packaging is beautiful and you get a mirror, which I think is where the cost of the product came, the eyeshadow is just such a dull, I wouldn't even call it a shiny metallic. I would say this is like a dull metallic. It's got a purple base with blue shimmer. It's not even duochrome. It's so not worth it. It's just so not worth it. Look at how, just look at it compared to the beautiful shimmery eyeshadows over here, right? I know the other shades might be different, but from my experience with this shade, no, I'm not buying any other shades from this particular line. Another eyeshadow that I think is worth mentioning that actually is not as good is from the brand Juicy. We talked about their jelly highlighters that I absolutely love. So I wanted to try some of their other products, and I got these two glitter eyeshadows in the shade MT115 and D114. And the unfortunate thing is these are just a bit too chunky. So they do feel sort of soft and putty-like, a bit like the Super Shock eyeshadows, but they are just a little bit too chunky. And they still look quite nice, very pretty. I think this kind of lilac-y color with the green shimmer on top, is very pretty, but they feel quite gritty to the touch. And I think these look a little bit chunkier rather than like the fine, shiny, diamondy shimmer effect that I'd rather go for. I think this doesn't quite look as sophisticated. When applied with a brush, they're a little bit less chunky, but I just think the particles maybe are a little bit too large for my taste. Better than the Charlotte Tilbury, definitely less for sale than the Charlotte Tilbury at least. And then I bought this single eyeshadow called Muse from the I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I don't know how I found this. It was just so random that they just sold this single, and it's very pretty diamond shimmer eyeshadow. It's almost like a wet shimmer. Beautiful peachy nude base, gold sparkles on top, very similar to the Urban Decay Ritz Colourpop. However, Natasha Denona definitely packs more of a punch. So this is Urban Decay Moondust, and this is the lacquer eyeshadow, and you can see how shiny Muse is from Natasha Denona. I think this is almost bordering on a wet shimmer. Okay, you're going to still see sparkles on the back of my hand because it's impossible to get rid of all the glitters at this point. I like to talk about the Bobbi Brown Luxe eyeshadow Rich Metal as well. So I have two shades, Heat Ray and Sun Flare. So Sun Flare is really just kind of like pressed glitters. It's very chunky, but Heat Ray is that beautiful metallic shimmer. So this is a diamond shimmer. This is metallic shimmer. I used to love Sun Flare. I wore this so many times. It's very similar to the Patrick Ta in terms of the size of the glitter and the finish and the color. It's like gold coppery shade. However, the Bobbi Brown one doesn't quite stick onto the eye as well. So the Patrick Ta is better from that sense. However, this is obviously a very pretty diamond shimmer eyeshadow. If you're looking for a kind of a warm gold copper, this is very pretty. However, the Bobbi Brown is very expensive. This is £32 for 2.5 grams. So it's actually more expensive than the Patrick Ta eyeshadow. If I remember the Patrick Ta eyeshadow, if I've done the math correctly in my head, I think it's very pretty, but I just don't think it's worth the price tag. And then we have the shade Heat Ray, which is a very nice metallic shimmer, and it's a copper with gold sparkles. There are pink sparkles in there. Again, I think it's too expensive really for what it is, and I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, just because of the price, as pretty as they might be. On the other end of the scale, in terms of price, we have these Dose of Colors eyeshadows. These are the Block Party eyeshadows, I believe they're called. They came out years ago, and I bought a whole bunch of them, and I bought some more when it went on discount. They're still on discount for $5 USD. Absolute steal at that price. I think quite a lot of the colors that I have, they've sold out. These 7 shades that I have are still on the website, and I'm just going to do a little swatch of them so you can see what they look like. Again, each shade slightly different in terms of their finish. So this is a shade X-Ray. It did break because of how soft it is, and this is a very pretty diamond shimmer shade. It's got a black base with silver sparkles. There is 2.2 grams in here, and each single eyeshadow does come with a mirror as well. Next, we have I Need Space, which is basically identical to X-Ray. I Need Space is a little bit more of a grey. The website describe it as a midnight blue, but to be honest, I think it just looks like a grey. And then we have Sky is the Limit, which is a soft taupe base with icy silver reflex, cool tone mushroom grey. So I Need Space, I think this is actually a really pretty one. The base colour, it does take a little bit of building up. It's on the cool side. It's really nice mushroom taupe and silver sparkles come through. All of these 3, I would describe them as a diamond shimmer finish. And then next we have Olive You, which is a really pretty olive. This, however, is a metallic shimmer finish. And you can see that on the back of my hand. There is less of that dancing shimmery shade, but it's a beautiful olive metallic. So this is olive green base with light gold reflex, more of a metallic shimmer. And next we have another green, Leave Me Alone. So this is a diamond shimmer. It's got a forest green base with emerald green reflex. But I would say the base is really more black, and the shimmer is quite sparse. is not as good. And then we have Teal Me More. It's almost like a duochrome, this one. It's very creamy. So this is Teal Me More. If built up, this would almost act like a wet shimmer, but it's one layer. It is a diamond shimmer. It's got a black base with teal and blue reflex, but the base color is not very strong. The reflex really takes center stage. It's very pretty. And lastly, we have My Jam, which is a purple grape base with lilac reflex. Okay, and this is My Jam. This is quite a unique shade. It's a purple grape base with lilac sparkles. I don't have a shade like this in my collection because I don't tend to go for this sort of tone, but I think this is very pretty. I do feel like My Jam is a little bit on the drier side. I don't know if it's just the one that I have or if the formula is a little bit dry. So even though the color is unique, I'm not as big of a fan of the formula. But out of all of the 7 shades, I would say Teal Me More, really very, very shiny, very impactful. I Need Space. I think the silver sparkles really shine through. We're almost done with powder eyeshadows. But before we move on, I just want to show you some wet shimmer eyeshadows, specifically my collection over here, which are from Odin's Eye. So these are my Odin's Eye eyeshadows, and you can see how wet and shiny they are. And I just don't think they're very beginner friendly. If you're just dipping your feet into kind of sparkly eyeshadows, I wouldn't recommend these because they really do pack quite a punch, and it might be a little bit overwhelming for someone who is just trying to get into the sparkly eyeshadow world. Also, this shade here, SO37 Modi, is quite crumbly, and this blue shade SO19 David is actually feels a little bit dry. It takes a bit of building up, to be honest, or maybe applied wet to get the full wet effect. And also the last shade that I swatched, which is SO11 Mora. Was it Myra? I think but it's SO11. And this shade, it looks like it could be a diamond shimmer, but the shimmer particles are actually quite large. So it just looks more like glitter rather than shimmer on the eyelids. But built up, you can see this is absolutely crazy wet and metallic. I don't think this is necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but if you want crazy shiny eyeshadows, then can't go wrong with Odin's Eye. I mean, these Odin's Eye multi-chromes are very pretty, really, really stunning. Shall we move on to palettes? I recently acquired 2 Beauty Bay eyeshadows, and this is what they look like. They are pure shimmery, metallic, shiny goodness. This is the Nine Charles Neutral palette, and this is what it looks like swatched. They are really, really pretty. A variety of diamond, wet, metallic, shimmer finishes. Honestly, I think if you're looking to just kind of have fun with metallic eyeshadows, not sure where to start, this is a good place to start because it's also very affordable. So if you don't like it, it's not like you wasted loads of your money. But you can see there are some really pretty diamondy finishes like this shade here that's very shiny, got a peachy nude base with lots of silver sparkles. And you have some more muted shades like this one, which is just a kind of a metallic eyeshadow. And then the kind of another variety of shade here with hardly a base color. You can sort of see a little bit of black, but really hardly anything, with just a lot of sparkle. So that would be a very pretty diamond shimmer finish. And then this shade here, which honestly just looks wet. And I think because this palette was so successful, they came out with another one. So this is, I can't remember which one came out first, but this is the more colorful sister of the eyeshadows, and this is what they look like on the back of my hand. A couple of them have a slight dual chrome flip, and you can see much more colorful, but still very shimmery, very shiny. I would actually say the neutral palette has more of that diamond shimmer finish, whereas this palette here, the colorful one, has more of metallic shimmer finishes. But you can see these, they are very pretty. This shade here definitely has a flip to it, and this second shade has a flip to it. They're not as strong as the Danessa Myricks multichromes or the Indie multichromes, but for the price, you can't really beat it. And I would say they're almost trying to dupe the Danessa Myricks, but I find the Danessa Myricks multichromes much more smooth to the touch and as well on the eyelid. So speaking of the Danessa Myricks, I think this is the only Freedom kind of the metallic sort of eyeshadow palette that is still in stock, the pastel one. The other big Freedom palettes, so for example, the one she released last year, I believe is sold out everywhere, which is a shame because these are absolutely stunning. I've never really reviewed these eyeshadow palettes on my channel because I think there is just so many videos out there. I didn't feel like I need to add to it. There wasn't really anything new that I wanted to say. I mean, these, what the eyeshadows look like, they are absolutely stunning. You really, you can see they are definitely more of that wet shimmer finish. A couple of them are like that diamond shimmer finish, like this one on my hand here and this one here, but most of them I would say are a wet shimmer finish or a metallic shimmer finish. They are just gorgeous, stunning eyeshadows. Absolutely worth the money. And I just like to actually give a caveat to the Danessa Myricks eyeshadows, because they're technically not eyeshadows, they're pigments. So some of the colors can stain your eyelid. Of course, I have to mention one of these are Aldridge's eyeshadow palettes, and that's the eyeshadow palette Betty. There's no matte shades in this eyeshadow, which is why I want to mention it. The other palette that is really pretty is Sorcery. I have demos and reviews of both of these eyeshadow palettes, but I want to mention Betty in particular because Betty is my favorite. It's overtaken Sorcery. Sorcery was my favorite, but now it's Betty, and it has a mixture of diamond shimmer finishes, metallics, and metallic shimmer finishes. This shade, though, I feel like it's just pure glow. It's almost neon. I absolutely love the shade, and you can really pack it on, build it in layers to make your eyes look ultraviolet. And this is what the Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow should have been, really. And then you have this shade, which is that diamondy shimmer finish. This is a metallic shimmer finish, and then the other shades are nice creamy metallics. The Betty eyeshadow, as we speak and the day I'm filming, has actually come back in stock, so make sure you get it because it was limited edition and she bought it back once. It's sold out, and I think this is the second time she's bought it back. I'm not someone who tells you go buy stuff, but I do think Betty palette is a really, really pretty palette. And if you enjoy the Lisa Eldridge formula, which is creamy, more subdued, sparkly eyeshadows, then Betty is a great buy. And the next two eyeshadow palettes I want to talk about is Pat McGrath and the LH Cosmetic Basic Elements palette. I was actually just going to start diving into the Pat McGrath Metallics formula, and when I swatched the 4 baked shades from Midnight Sun, which is my favorite Pat McGrath palette, I realized how similar those 4 shades were to the LH Cosmetics Basic Elements palette. Now, LH Cosmetics, I have mentioned the liquid eyeshadow, the pressed eyeshadow as well are gorgeous. The shimmer palette that she had a couple of years ago sold out, went viral. She has another one. So if you missed out on that, I would recommend trying the new one. They are a really gorgeous formula. So I just got the old palette out. It's a Shimmer Saga palette. I think the new one is called Aurora. So this is the Shimmer Saga palette, and the Aurora palette, I believe, has similar finishes but slightly different colors. So they are your diamond shimmers, and you're slightly kind of built up. You can become wet shimmers. Definitely not a metallic shimmer and not just a dull metallic. You can really see the colors, very pretty, the dancing on the eyelid when you apply it to your eyes. But anyway, back to the Basics Element palette, which is in stock and available to buy. The 3 kind of silver, copper, and gold are metallic shades. This is a metallic shimmer because of the different shimmer particles coming through the gold. It gives that glimmering effect. And I would say this blue is a diamond shimmer, but most of them are, these two definitely just straight up metallics. So that's kind of that finish that you get with the Basic Elements palette. And then with the Pat McGrath, though, even though the color is actually quite similar, that's why I swatched these two next to each other. But the Pat McGrath finish is different. The Pat McGrath is definitely more of that wet shimmer and diamond shimmer. This purple, when it's wet, intensified, it's more of a very shiny metallic, but applied lightly, it can be kind of almost like a diamond shimmer. And then, of course, that white silvery shade, this is diamond shimmer built up to wet shimmer, very, very sparkly, applied with a fluffy brush, beautiful diamond dancing shimmers on the eyelid. Same thing with this copper. And the gold, I would say, is just more of a metallic, but you can see that it is very shiny. And I kind of wanted to talk about Pat McGrath because I don't think you get the same shimmer finish in the baked shade. So this is Midnight Sun, which I think has probably the sparkliest finish of the baked special shades. And then we have, this is Divine Rose 1, I believe. And then these 4 shades here, they're much softer, except obviously this one, which is the repeat shade, the same shade as from Midnight Sun. And you can see on the back of my hand that actually these 3 shades are very smooth and they don't really have a very shimmery finish. They're just straightforward metallics. So I always felt like the Pat McGrath special shades had this hype around them about them being super sparkly, but actually I don't think they're super sparkly. Some of them are just very, very metallic. And if you're looking for that diamond shimmer, Pat McGrath is not necessarily the palette you want to go for. Just want to show you these Pat McGrath eyeshadows. The first 4 are from the number 2 Pat McGrath palette. This is from number 1 Pat McGrath palette. And I think you can see that quite a lot of them are just kind of like metallic shimmers rather than diamond shimmers. So if you're looking for diamond shimmers, Pat McGrath not necessarily the way to go, but certainly I think palette number 1 has a few more of these, whereas palette number 2, they're definitely just more of that traditional metallic finish. This one, as I say, the only kind of diamond shimmery shade. And then we have some more here. So the top 4 is from Bronze Seduction. And then the bottom 5 is from Utopian Dream. Utopian Dream does have this beautiful ultraviolet shade, more of a diamond shimmer, quite gritty, same as this shade does feel quite gritty. Bronze Seduction has a couple of beautiful diamond shimmer shades, metallic shimmer shade, and just a straight up metallic. So, make sure you know what you're buying. And then, of course, we have a couple more swatches. So this is from the Sublime. I can't remember the one, with the green shade. So this is where these 4 are from, which are really just straight up metallics. They're not diamond shimmers at all, other than there's one shade here at the top. And then these 4 shades are from the Submersive palette, which is my second favorite Pat McGrath palette. And there are definitely more metallic shimmers and diamond shimmers there. If you're really looking for diamond shimmers, I would feel like single eyeshadow is probably your better bet rather than spending lots of money on a Pat McGrath palette. But she's got a sale on right now. Don't really know what's going to happen to the brand. So if you feel like you don't want to miss out on the Pat McGrath boat, maybe now is a good time to buy. But yeah, I don't know. But not all of her eyeshadows have that beautiful diamondy shimmer. Quite a lot of them just have straight up metallic, even in the special baked shades. Let's talk about potted cream eyeshadows. A classic cult favorite is the Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadow. I have Smoke, which is this very pretty pinky taupe with kind of gold, pink, lilac shimmers on top. This is a very beautiful metallic shimmer eyeshadow. I don't think this is a diamond shimmer eyeshadow because without my strong lights, you don't actually pick up these shimmers. Pretty in the sun, obviously, with strong lighting, but just in room light, normal room light, I think these just look more metallic than shimmery. So if you're looking for diamond shimmer, I don't think this is your one, but if you're looking for metallic shimmer, something more sophisticated, this is more of your friend. Another popular one is the Bodyography glitter pigments. I think they were more popular maybe about 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. I think it was when Katie Jane Hughes was growing popularity on Instagram and she used them a lot. And that's how I heard of them, certainly. They're not that easy to get either. And I've got the shade Sparkler and Later Skater. Sparkler is definitely a diamond shimmer. It's got white and gold silver reflex. And then Later Skater's got a black base with gold reflex, and I think you can see how Sparkler just sparkles. Does in the name. a little bit more and how it compares to the Hourglass Scattered Light pigments. I do want to give an honorable mention to the Ciate London Marbled Metals. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt. I have the shade Twisted. And then, of course, the good old Marc Jacobs. Oh my God, this is so good. This is Sequin. You can't get them anymore, but I actually just want to swatch them next to the Bodyography glitter pigments because I had no idea how shiny the Ciate London one was until I compared it to the Bodyography one. Boom. That's Ciate London. Like, look at how sparkly that is. I mean, that's insane. So shiny, so pretty. I can't believe they are out of business. Some of the stuff was definitely hit and miss, but this eyeshadow is absolutely stunning. I don't know, they should have done more advertising for this. This is gorgeous. And also the Marc Jacobs Sequin eyeshadow, beautiful silver. This is in the shade Glitter Rock. I wish Marc Jacobs Beauty would come back and they can bring back all of these glittery, shiny goodness. This is a metallic shimmer finish. This is definitely a diamond shimmer finish. So I think this is everything that I want to talk about. Obviously, the other eyeshadow palettes that I haven't talked about are like the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes, which also have gorgeous metallics and shimmers in there, but I am too exhausted. So I'm gonna stop here. But to make everything really clear by what I mean by metallic shimmers, diamond shimmers, and wet shimmers, I'm gonna swatch like a pinky shade in these 3 different formulas so you can see what the different finishes truly are. Okay, so these 3 are all pinky eyeshadows. We've got the Hourglass Scattered Light in Smoke, and this is the metallic shimmer finish. This is Frog from Colourpop. This is a diamond shimmer finish. And this is a single eyeshadow from Odin's Eye, which is a wet shimmer. So can you see how these 3 eyeshadows are similar but actually very different, and they definitely give you different finish on the eyes. I hope this kind of like clears up exactly what I mean by a metallic shimmer, a diamond shimmer, and a wet shimmer. And I've been talking for ages. My hair is falling apart. I need to go and take out the bins. I hope this was a useful video, and I hope that you maybe found some gems that you haven't heard about before. There are so many different eyeshadows out there still, lots of brands that I haven't tried, lots of US brands that we can't get here in the UK. And also, I'm on a no buy. I don't really want to buy any more makeup because I have plenty. So I think maybe a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about is old, but I feel like just because, I don't know, that it's maybe older, it's not a new release, doesn't mean that it's not good anymore. So I hope this is like a good guide for different shimmery metallic-y eyeshadows. Honestly, I am so grateful for you guys watching, and this is such a nice outlet for me to just not be serious, talk about something that is frivolous, and just a bit of fun. Okay, see you next one. Bye.